turn 8, 9, 10, beyond. Actually pretty mid to late game as well. So it's still not even just as simple of, oh, he knows whether he should Lunacy in this matchup or not. It's also about timing. Speaking of which, Subtle, here we go. Buckle in.
Buckle in indeed. Yep, Jarla giving the eyebrow raise, exhaling, trying to work out what this hand says to him. It is Lunacy plus card draw. Definitely an option. Frenetic continuing with a quite consistent Mulligan strategy, I would say, of just keeping the cards that are the most Skull of Gul'dan in his deck and not any of the others.
Yeah, this is a pretty strange but acceptable way to describe it.
Yep. Jarla going to think this one over, but I think if I was Jarla, I would have a lot of faith in my deck of Lunacy skills, and I would be holding on to it here personally.
Yeah, I think at base level, it's just keep middle two, throw the others. He's going to keep ring toss. So wants a potentially like guaranteed interrupt turn when he wants it.
Sorry. It's just the players react to Mage's 3-keeping .gif on the other side from Frenetic. It was just raise of the eyebrows and then
was it Frenetic
look on his
reacting to his 4-mana Il'gynoth in his hand?
I think it was both. I think it was one followed by the other. Which
one eyebrow each.
The reaction, yeah.
Because this is tricky, right? He has the double jumps to potentially draw the skulls, but now he can't even like preload them to get them to the far left.
It's fine, he just has to hit Moarg, Arcanist, Blood Mage, or whatever it was that he hit in the other game where he killed his opponent on turn 6.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, Chaos Strike into Chaos Strike is going to be able to get this cycle going at least.
So now, once this turn passes without Jarla playing Incanter's Flow, I think Frenetic will understand what this game is going to look like.
Right.
That is now a 3-keep where your opponent has not played any cards by turn 2. There's only one possible thing that means, and that is coin deck of Lunacy this turn.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not really much of a question as to whether he coins this or not, right? There's no reason to get one less card, Lunacied, if that's the phrase or tense we're going for, and then just still just have the ability to Arcane Intellect. Now we've got a real game of Hearthstone, Subtle.
What if you just tempo the Il'gynoth there and just say, okay, you've got no cards left in your entire deck that can kill this 2/6.
If Frenetic tempoed that Il'gynoth, I would honestly petition Blizzard to just give him the win. I'd put all my effort in.
I love this, by the way, the Solarian pickup from Jarla. I think actually of increased importance now because you have those extra 5-cost cards in the Refreshing Spring Waters. So you have 2 Apexis Blast, 2 Spring Waters, which transform into 8 mana cards. And 8 mana cards have potential to troll you with things like Idol of Yasharaj, for example, when you don't have any minions left in your deck. So because you have increased potential to hit those, I think just anything that shuffles a minion into your deck has gone up quite a bit in value since the nerf to Springwater.
Yeah, and I like this from Jarla as well. Like, normally, you'd be like, wow, 2 mana Glowfly, like, let's go. But guess what? Demon Hunter has an answer for Glowflies, so you don't necessarily want to do that. And also, as we saw in previous games, there are a lot of board-based buffs you can get too, so the Glowflies can be kept for a little bit later on in the day, whereas this 8/8 is a bit of a problem for Frenetic.
For some reason, you saying board-based buffs just made me think of that how many perps in the 2-perp cell bit in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know why it reminded me of that, but it did. So you get to hear about it. Oh, thanks. No!
Oh!
Jarla, you filthy boy.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
Now he's just teasing us.
Forever the tease is Jarla. But we have seen him do some incredibly filthy things with Celestial Alignment while playing Deck of Lunacy. Both playing it early to just take control of the game by obviously just having more powerful, more expensive, more explosive things to spend 1 mana on each turn, but also just playing in a late game situation to just lock out his opponent, right? Just like it's like using it almost as like the mind render tempo lock, where he just made a huge board and then played Celestial Alignment, so his opponent just didn't have the tools to be able to answer it.
And also as well, there's a lot of value in actually playing it in post Skull of Gul'dan, right?
Yes.
Because then the Skull isn't going to be cast for 1 to potentially draw like the 0 costs at that point, and instead it's just, well, you've got all these cards, they're reduced. Well, actually now they all cost 1 and you have 1 mana.
Exactly, yeah. Not a great selection of options here, it has to be said.
Mask 'em. With your opponent only having a few cards in hand, I don't even overly dislike Mask at all here.
Well, because my opponent has so few cards in hand, that leans me more towards like expendable performers, because it's kind of the slimmest chance they might have of being able to answer the board, right?
I kind of disrespected expendable performance for some reason, because at first I was like, well, what minion development is there? Solarian. Great. You know, like, it's not that much, right? But I guess these 1/1s do add up. And if Jarla is going to play Celestial Alignment soon, then a 1 mana Mask is not too shabby either, right?
That's the one.
Okay, Celestial go.
Has to be, right?
Yeah.
You're at 19. Like, 1 discounted card and you're dead here, basically, the way this is going to line up. So imagine it has to be the case. Jarla will be looking at Frenetic like, well, the way he's been drawing, I probably am just dead with 1 mana here. With the
I know, you'd be like, wait a minute. Celestial gets played, sets everything into 1, and he still gets lethal. They'll be like, well, this is...
No, I mean literally dead right now, this turn, with 1 mana. Yeah.
I mean, if I was Jarla, I'd still think I'd be dead post-Celestial for 1 mana at this point.
Don't know how that's even possible, but okay.
Frenetic will find a way.
Yeah. The fear, of course, because this is full cost Deck of Lunacy, is Survival of the Fittest coming back the other way, so Frenetic has to kind of edge against that. He has left, what, 8 damage on board, plus 16 more from Survival of the Fittest.
Oh, insane. Does he consecrate as well?
It's 8 plus 8, 16. Consecration is 18. It's just, it's just biggest board you can.
Yeah,
all your cards.
most damage.
That's all you got. Yep.
Because he wants to mask next turn, right? Which is his turn number, his first 1 mana turn.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Seriously, straight up, name me a more iconic duo than Jarla and Celestial Alignment.
Jarla and winning.
Good answer. I'll allow it.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's look at the scores on the board. Our survey says, 92. Good answer. Well done.
That from Bruce Forsyth to Les Dennis now. Jarla takes the victory, and honestly, again, you can talk all you want about lunacy and whether it's silly or whatever, but Jarla pilots lunacy very well. He got the Celestial fine, no real control over that, but he planned it, like I said. Sometimes we've seen him play it straight away to just use that effect, but after seeing the Skull is the perfect time. Jarla knew it, built the board, pushed on the pressure, and ended the game.
And also, let's just look at it from the top down, from a wider view of Last Hero Standing. He's not playing his rogue in this game, which is, what a lot of people might have expected him to do, and I think what Frenetic potentially expected him to do. And that means he's got the 1 rogue counter out of the series, and he still has his rogue to come out. So now Frenetic's 2 decks are Priest, which gets annihilated by Weapon Rogue, although he does have an Acidic Swampoos in there, and Mage, which gets annihilated by Weapon Rogue, although they are Mage, and if they draw correctly, they can beat just about everything. So although there are chances for Frenetic in this series, he's looking in a really, really bad spot now.
And, frankly, Saul's serious when he starts waving his finger around, because that's when he really means it. It looks like Frenetic's, at least in his view, his best chance is to play out a Mage Mirror. But again, of course, as I want to do here, to highlight there is no lunacy for Frenetic. And again, we've seen Jarla actually go lunacy in the Mage Mirror as well. So I think his thoughts are pretty cemented on that point now.
Yeah, so the way, from Frenetic's perspective, the way this series goes from here is that he wins the Mage Mirror. Jarla then counter-cues with Rogue. He then counter queues with Priest with his Acidic Swamp who's in there and wins that matchup, which is debatable at best. And then the last game of the series, even in this best case scenario that we're laying out here for Frenetic, is that he plays Priest against Warlock.
Right.
Like,
okay.
how does he win? How does he win this series from this point? It's so difficult. Like, Jarla's lineup just looks a cut above everyone else's in Europe this week.
It does feel like he is just... It's when, if you play chess against someone who is very good and you play very casually, they just maneuver you and then you sit, look at the board and realize there's nothing you can do, right? Like any move is covered and that's what it feels like. You're just pinned in and you just go, yeah, this person's just better. And then that's it. And I'm not saying even particularly just raw better between these two players, but I do think Jarla's hit the nail on the head with the lineup this week.
Agreed.
And they're on the head with this opening, mainly because that one card on the right, subtle.
And I'm feeling that Frenetic might be missing here. Thinking Runed Orb, Springwater, Fireball. Oh, look at that. Amazing. How did I do it?
Come on.
I mean, in the right order as well. It's incredible, honestly. My powers.
How could you know? I wonder. Well, Jarla can play a Trick Totem to get another Trick Totem on the board as well, based on what we've seen today.
Oh, the top deck one!
One off the top. I mean, he's done that before. You always play the top deck.
Yep.
Now, interestingly enough, is this ever coin? Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's Coin Apexis Blast, right? It's actually Coin Apexis Blast at this point, is it not?
Oh.
You play around so many things with Coin Apexis Blast. So now you have to ping face to play around Rig Fair Game if you want to go down this line?
I think that's okay. He has a 2-drop in Ruined Orb next turn. He has a Apexis Blast next turn. Like, he has stuff to do.
Yeah.
I do like getting the second flow because it's the biggest power spike, right? So get it done early. And this, oh no, he has to ping. And when he has multiple different turn 4s covered already, regardless of what's probably going to be a Springwater draw next turn.
I guess you can just Ruined Orb the face here as well. I'm really not sure what's wrong with Apexis Blaster. Like, what's the downside apart from you...
You don't reduce the cost of your deck by 1 million. That's what's...
Yeah. You lose 1 mana, but you deal 5 damage and have a 5-drop in play. Like, I don't know. It seems worth it to me.
I guess the problem is, like, your next turn then just becomes the weak turn, as opposed to doing your weaker turn now.
Well, no, next... Yeah, I mean, sure. But, like, isn't front-loading the 5-drop good? Because then you just have Incanter's Flow Ruined Orb on the following turn, right? If it comes down to it, which, I don't know, seems strong to me. But... here we are anyway. He's just doing it in the other order. The same 2 results are happening. And it's like, it's strange, right? Because he's still now spent this turn skipping an Incanter's Flow for an Apexis Blast, who's kind of ended up doing the same thing at some point.
He did corrupt the Ring Toss, though.
He did corrupt the Ring Toss, you're not wrong.
Okay, play the third flow. We need the reaction video for a direct montage or something.
Yep. Mr. Blue card in full effect in this game.
It's not even... It wouldn't even be that bad to play it, right? Because, yes, it's weird mana, but with the Ring Toss in hand, there was a good cover-up.
Frenetic's got this look on his face, just like, why do I bother? Like, what is happening?
Like, wait, am I just dead?
Yeah, kind of. Added benefit now of the Springwater, corrupting the Ring Toss, giving Frenetic a lot more disruption than he would have had otherwise this turn.
And that was as expected Counterspell and Netherwind Portal, for those who might have missed it. Is it weirdly skipping Incanters again and just like play Jandis?
You'd let the Rig Fair game go off at that point, though, which Jarla's been very careful to play around up until this point, especially now that Flow has been cast by Frenetic.
Oh.
That Rig Fair game is a lot more dangerous than it would be otherwise.
Interesting, right? Because there are multiple options based on what Jarla values here. He could use the 0-cost cram session now to just say, okay, let's work out some of these secrets.
Yeah.
Or he could just throw away arguably an Incanter's Flow if he deems that the draw is better now than the actual reduction of the whole deck. If he's feeling he's going to win soon anyway. It's really tricky actually, isn't it? But Jandis plays around like the other two secrets that isn't rigged, right?
Agreed, yeah. I think this is the strongest. It's just the fact that, like, Jandis specifically in the Mage Mirror usually isn't that strong because Combustion and Shooting Star both exist, right? So it's normally not even that powerful a play in comparison to what it can be in other matchups. I will say that Frenetic now, I think, has a real chance from this position. A very real chance with the way his hand is shaping up. Ooh! That's filth.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
I played enough Battlegrounds last week, Raven, to know when you have a Quillbore on your board, you're doing great.
Now the real question is, does he Combustion, Brain Freeze, Ruined Orb the Quillbore?
I think you take the flow, right? As fascinating as that extra 5 damage would be, oh, it's pretty good. The Ruined Orb your own 5/6 is pretty good there, it has to be said. Alright. Third flow, Spring Water. Mana cheat aplenty is going to come out this turn. Jarla needs a big turn because out of nowhere he's just found himself spectacularly behind in this game that was looking like it was won.
Okay, well, Devolving Missiles, Ring Toss, and an Apexis Blast is a good combination of cards right now.
Yikes, those are still some minions.
If those of you don't know, the one on the right has Frenzy, Gain Divine Shield.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the one on the left says that every time a friendly secret is revealed, you gain +2/+2, and you can play a lot of secrets in this Mage deck when it comes down to it.
I wonder.
Those are some real minions on the other side, but Ring Toss into Ice Barrier still has the ability to basically delete those minions from being relevant this game. Oasis Ally is now super tempting because you got the taunt.
Oh, was the second one? Okay, so it was Ice Barrier Counterspell.
Okay.
Oh. It's to proc counter.
My powers are never truly gone.
So Wound Orb to the face. There's a Spring Water for next turn for Frenetic. You can just get through this, right? And go to face with his minions?
Yep. If he wants to. That's why the Ice Barrier ended up being very essential.
Yeah.
I think Jarla recognizing not to get greedy there with the Oasis Ally. Very nicely done. Like I said, that single Ice Barrier basically deleting those minions from being relevant this game, because this game only has 1 or 2 turns left in it, most likely, with how down to the wire it's come.
But there is now no burn for Frenetic, and Jarla has a Flame Strike, so he can clean... Oh! Flame Strike, 1 mana Ring Toss! That'll do it! Insane!
Yeah.
Oh, rigged. I guess you're gonna get... Are you expecting to get pinged? Gonna make them ping?
There's merit to say that you have to ping me every turn, right? So that you can't just max out, but at the same time, yes, you are kind of expecting to have damage dealt to your face every single turn from this point onwards. No counterspell means the Fireball goes through, and this refreshing Spring Water now has the chance to go digging from Frenetic. He has got some juice left in his deck, still 2 masks left in there.
Oh, but the other secret is Entity. So let's see what minion Frenetic might end up giving... Wait, he's playing Devolving first?
Sage! Sage draws 4 cards!
Sage gives Jarla a 6/6.
It does, and I think Frenetic has just considered that, and I think he's just realised the exact moment he screwed this up.
Yeah. Oh, he could have just played the minion first. Oh, that's so insane, actually. So Frenetic gets to draw. He's got 0 mana to play with, but still.
Yeah, there's the reaction as he sees the Mirror Entity going off.
Oh no, I keep thinking it's because it costs 6. I keep thinking it's got 6 attack.
Yeah, lab partner shooting star, not going to be enough to get it done here. That's so much extra damage now for Jarla.
What's the beast? Marsh Hydra, okay.
Oh my goodness, this ridiculous game. What is happening?
He needs 1 damage.
I wonder.
He just has to Hydra, right? Is that the best he's got?
I guess.
A Hydra the 5/5 and just evolve ping. He can evolve ping, right? Which allows him to push 5 to phase.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay.
I wonder.
I mean, he could just also fall, like he can combustion fallen hero ping, which means he has guaranteed lethal on the following turn, right? Unless that happens, of course, in which case combustion doesn't clear anymore. Because fallen hero ping would have allowed him to push 7 to face, so literally nothing matters for the rest of the game apart from whether he...
Well, yeah, but he can do that the other way, right? He can naturally ping and then fallen hero ping next turn.
True. Yeah, okay.
Which is still the same, right? Because nothing stops fallen hero just hitting the board and having its effect.
Yeah, but big deal being that he can't, if he couldn't clear with combustion,
yes,
then he had to ping the minion there just to respect the 1 damage. That is 4 to face, guaranteed, minimum. Springwater gets the mana back. That is guaranteed lethal at least now with those 2 Mask of Cthulhu. Variety of other ways that it could be done. Yeah,
pick your poison. Extremely close, and Frenetic nearly lost that game to what I will at least chalk up to a slight blunder, or at least just not a consideration for what the secret could be. So he did pull himself out of it there because Jarla didn't draw any damage off the top, and he needed, what, 1 playable damage within that turn to actually end it. Very, very, very close game, and a very back and forth game.
It was, yeah, but that is very much just step 1 on a very long climb for Frenetic from this point because, yeah, he did it. He looked massively unfavored in that game with double flow coming out very early from Jarla and then even the option for a 3rd flow to come out. But he did everything he needed to do, maybe some minor late game sequencing to talk about, but he got over the line in a very unfavored position. But his unfavored position has not disappeared yet, Raven. He is still massively unfavored in the way that these matchups are going to pan out, because Jarla can now just very happily queue a weapon rogue into this Mage, which is a very, very good matchup. And then from that point, Frenetic has no choice but to counter queue with the Priest, which then is remaining to be played against the Warlock in Jarla's lineup, even if that ends up picking up the win against Rogue, which is not the easiest thing to be done anyway, even with the acidic Swampoos. So yes, well done, pat on the back. You overcame the adversity of facing down more Incanter's flows on the other side, but you are by no means out of the woods yet.
Yeah, it's still going to be a really tricky series for Frenetic, especially, or mainly because Jarla got the first win with the Mage anyway, right? I think that was the big X factor, at least in how the game's played out so far. I'm just going to check what he's going to queue. Yep, makes sense. It's going to be the Rogue versus the Mage. I know you broke it down for us very nicely, subtle, but it's always good to get the old confirmation.
Yeah, this is where I was on. Wait, hang on, what? He's queuing Warlock? This is nonsense. Jarla's just throwing.
I am so confident.
Yeah, it's like,
he does like Warlock.
Like, actually, you guys are idiots. Like, you can't kill Warlock with burn. Just don't even try, and just queues Warlock instead. But no, obviously he's going to go with the weapon rogue here because he understands how matchups work.
Yeah, really great analysis there, Sal. He's good at the game.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going to have his weapon rogue, and it's going to be a tough one. Like, realistically, how tough is this matchup? Because you get one side where it's like, oh, well, Mage can just keep up or like just push enough burn as long as they can mask into the cloak turns. How often is that enough for Mage, or is this just going to be a real uphill climb for Mage versus Rogue?
Incredibly rarely is the answer. It is a real uphill climb. It to me doesn't come down to just a burn race. To me, the way Mages win is, yeah, obviously the early game flows and all that kind of stuff helps. But I think Frenetic is absolutely doing the right thing here and keeping font of power, because I think generally what you need as Mage is kind of like you need like a scam minion, right? Like you need something to come down like Worm Weaver or Font of Power so you can have like a big tempo swing. Yeah. That'll do nicely. Or you get Raz off your Apexis Blast, for example, or just an Earth Elemental off your Apexis Blast or something, and they miss the Coerce, right? They're missing that one key tool that they need to answer your board, and you actually get in a couple of minion attacks. That's generally the way I've found that Mage ends up winning this matchup. So being as efficient as possible with your minions is generally the first thing to look out for here, I think.
Okay, well, Frenetic did keep that front of power, as you mentioned, but his hand is quite expensive here. So this coin is going to have to do a lot of work, as Jarla already off to a reasonable start, mainly in the fact that the secret passage and swindle for card draw, and then just having that man quick for now to just dump down and start applying some level of pressure.
Yeah, I think we can file this over under good start. Obviously, having not seen the contents of the secret passage, that remains to be seen, but Mancrick early into secret passage to go digging for weapon, I think you would, if you were offered that 100 times in a row with Rogue, you'd probably take it.
You don't pick the one, see?
He's looking for the wife straight off the bat. Doesn't find it though.
Always hungry for more.
And this is it, right? Big tempo push turn now for Frenetic, stabilizing on the board with the Wormweaver threatening to push back the other way. Imprisoned Phoenix there picked up over Mini Mage even as the consistent source of stealth that he could have chosen to pick up. And Jarla says, okay, enough of that.
Again.
It's weapon time.
Yeah. Or maybe Enraged Man quick time.
One of both.
Kind of both. It's nice though. Deadly Poison, nice and early pickup means that it is the biggest initial jump in damage, right? If you can Deadly Poison now.
That's right. Now here comes Apexis Blast #1 from Frenetic. Again, big minion here is a big deal. Jarla does have the Coerce on the other side, which, as I was saying, is kind of the key break point that Frenetic will want to dodge. But that's such a good draw. The fact that he picks up the Ring Toss and now the Apexis Blast just immediately corrupts it on this turn. With Mage, all things are possible, Raven.
Yeah, not a bad minion to come off there. Not one of the best general minions, but I think you'll take almost any taunt against a weapon rogue in this scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Prep is pretty huge here, though, it has to be said. Allows him to use Coerce if he would really like to and actually do so efficiently. Cutting class to go fishing. Okay, he's getting to Prize Plunderer now, yeah.
Yeah,
Does not even matter.
It's like he's going to Coerce to like completely wipe the board, right?
Yeah,
at
least the majority of, yes. Yeah, I imagine so.
Give me that. Not what I want.
And boom goes the Dynamite, 6 to face. Card draw now limited though, because remember, no Silverleaf poison, as far as I remember. No Silverleaf on this weapon just yet, so Jarla does have the potential to get slightly starved out here.
And I mentioned this play a few times, but whenever you can just dump Mizaki, even though you know you're going to take a big swing next turn, I like it, because can you, as the rogue, really ignore this minion? It is very scary.
Oh no.
So let's count. There's what, 19 damage in 2 turns?
Yes.
So many options.
Doesn't add up to 22? Does Jarla just trust... Wait, is it?
Yeah, weapon swing once is 6, weapon swing twice is 12, 14 from the minion, 18 from the Wicked Stab, 21 from the Sinister Strike. No, okay, it's 21. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I didn't count the minion. It was my fault. I said 19.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the 2 attack for the minion, of course. So very, very close. And what do you think, Sottle? Should Jarla just trust his deck and, like, go?
I don't think there's any other play. Like, I'm not feeling over the moon about the line that you have to take this turn, but I just really don't see the alternative.
Well, go on.
I was going to say, the good news is that you can't get masked for 1,000,000 damage this turn, because Spring Waters at full cost will no longer boost Frenetic back up to the point where he's able to end the turn with Mask, right? Because he does lose a mana on each Spring Water that he casts, which does make Cloak potentially very appealing on this turn. Really just roping?
Just passed.
What? Can that be right?
I mean, he can do all this plus whatever he draws next turn almost certainly anyway. And maybe he's thinking that if there are secrets, if there's X, if there's Y or whatever, then he needs the actual tools in hand to deal with it.
Right.
I don't know. I think if I was in his shoes, I think I would have just swung and then played Cloak.
But now, like, by cloaking this turn, he's now dead to Mask, whereas he have to be, right? Like, he could have just denied any face damage being thrown to the face on that turn and potentially just found an entire extra turn in this game, which just doesn't exist anymore. I think it's a just very strange sequencing to me. Yep, throws the prep into the counterspell as the best tool to try and run away with here. Now he almost has to respect this Mizaki or he's going to die, right? But even then, even if he doesn't, he's going to lose that race to Mask and a couple of pings over the course of 2 turns anyway.
Yeah. I mean, what is the Mask even at? It's enough, right?
It's lethal. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was either expecting the Cloak or just take a turn off, trade the 2-1 and the weapon swing into the Mizaki and just saying, I'm not dealing with this game. You know, and just take the turn off and say, okay, it's fine. I can take that 1 turn to kill this. It's 3 damage to my face, whatever. But it's only going to be 3 damage to my face. Done. And then move on and hope you can get some card draw next turn. But I didn't expect just the raw pass, and I might be just... my nerves might be gone now just from the way things have gone this weekend. But I hope it wasn't a technical issue. Jarla didn't seem to be upset at the end of that turn, so it did seem like it was just an active choice, and I hope that is the case. So yeah, I just don't know. It's just so far away from what I would have considered doing, or I guess not doing at this point.
Yeah, I think it was. And there's so many things to consider there as well, right? Because potentially if you're going to go for just straight up 2-turn lethal, you need to think about counterspell on the other side, for example.
Right.
So like the way that he did it, you could argue he gave himself out to draw another source of damage, like draw another poison, on the following turn, and then be able to use Cloak of Shadows as the counterspell breaker, and then go with Poison and Wicked Stab and Sinister Strike all in the same turn. I would argue that if you're going to do that, it still makes more sense to like dump some of that burn on that turn as opposed to just floating all of the mana. But for me, still, it's one of the few turns with that deck that Jarla's played that I just really haven't been happy with. And I think for me, I still would have been a Cloak of Shadows turn from my perspective. But I can certainly understand that the spot he was in was difficult because, as I described it, what you need with Mage to win that matchup is scam minions, and that's basically that's what he got, right? He got everything. He got Wormweaver, he got Mizaki, he got everything he could possibly want. And even with no Incanter's Flow, and you can see the difference in the dynamic in that matchup where it's not necessarily, it doesn't matter how cheap your spells get almost. You need that minion damage to stick to the board over time.
And you can already see, even with the power of the Netherwind Portal taunt into a minion death rattle, it meant that, imagine, for example, if Jarla could have retained the Coerce, and then he just coerces the Mizaki.
Yep.
And then things change, right? You might not win the game still, but things dramatically change from there. But that game is over, and this one's just beginning. It's going to be Jarla on Warlock, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, Sottle, I fancy Frenetic's chances.
Suddenly he's a massive favourite, right? I've been banging the drum all series about how unfavoured he's been from the kickoff, from the Q order in game 1. I think Frenetic was massively unfavoured. Even before that, from the pick ban phase, I think Frenetic was massively unfavoured. Even before that, at the point they submitted these lineups, I think Frenetic was massively unfavoured in this match against Jarla. But all he had to do, Raven, was win 2 massively unfavourable matchups.
And you know what?
Here he is.
I'm just going to go on record right now. I thought Frenetic could have done it all the time. I was behind it from day one. So
you believe.
Well, Incanter's Flow on 2 can't ask for much more than that. And especially dangerous here that this matchup, one, I really like as the Mage anyway. You're playing an aggressive style burn deck. But it is also a little bit more difficult because Jarla is playing a slightly sort of slower, more greedy version, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think particularly when you pick up the Incanter's Flow on 2 as Frenetic has, I think Jarla already laughing at the way this is panning out because his opponent flowed on 2 and he immediately drew the Soul Fragments that he'd shuffled into his deck at 30 health. Was the 1-2 punch exchange on turn 2 there. So I think Frenetic so far looking very comfortable in the way proceedings are going. And once again, the Wormweaver on curve is just so strong with the 0 mana Brain Freeze. Insane.
It's a good card. right? It's going to pay off for him pretty well here. And Jarla, this is the problem with just, not even just Jarla's build specifically, but just this type of Warlock in general is, look how expensive his hand is. What is he supposed to do? All his cards cost like 6+.
Yes, indeed. So we'll get him back up to 5 this turn. Yeah, seems like a decent turn to preload the Phoenix.
Is it too bold to even look at this ring toss this turn?
This is some freaking Bly's speed gameplay here coming out from Frenetic.
He's just feeling it, right? And I'd be feeling it too if I pulled out some wins like he has in this series.
Yep.
All we need now is the coin ticketus tempo play.
Got to drop the Ogre, right, I think. It's probably just going to get clean fireballed on the other side as a best case scenario, but I think Jarla just has to be okay with that. Not seeing a way out of this from the point that he's in.
And jokes aside, I think if he does play the Ogre and it gets fireballed, depending on actually how many fragments is he in right now? 3. Okay, then Militia's probably a plan with the coin, but I actually just wouldn't be upset on curve sort of ticketus play, right? Because he doesn't care about the cards in his deck. He needs to stay alive.
Can I interest you in a nice Jandis Barov this turn?
Why, yes. Yes, you can. Especially since the Phoenix is going to proc next turn no matter what, which makes killing off the Ogre absolutely fine.
Yeah, suddenly your Combustion just like deals 6 at that point, so you should be able to come up with pretty clean ways to deal with an Ogremancer.
Yep, I like it. Also, next turn there's Fireball Ring Toss to look at as well, with the corrupting, of course.
Yeah. I mean, also next turn there's Fireball Face and kill him if it goes well with the Jandis.
Oh, that's what I mean, but I'm just trying to work out what's the punish, right? What feels bad if you play Jandis here? Well, okay, well, what if Jarla like cleans up most of the board somehow? Your Jandis is bad, but what's the answer? Well, you can just have Fireball Ring Toss. Frenetic, bailing out, just pulling the shoot.
This is not going to work how he thinks it works, I think. I don't know if he's... Yeah, look on his face, not really happy. Obviously, the Shooting Star doesn't deal with the first one that spawns because the second 2/2 skeleton spawns and then interferes with the Shooting Star positioning. So he then has to trade the Wormweaver into a 2/2 taunt. Yeah, I mean, literally with like 5 seconds left to go that turn, Frenetic's hand was on Jandis, and I think it probably should have stayed there, in my opinion.
So down comes Militia.
Behind.
Play from behind with a lot of spell damage, though. Oh my, oh my. Lethal question mark?
What are you worried about? Always get there. Look how easy it is to just kill Warlock with Burn Raven.
Hey, you're talking to a Hunter player. I know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so much damage. And what even is the answer here? Everything, again, feels too slow, but I think Jarla has to go for a Siphon Soul into Armor Vendor here.
Yeah, looks like
I think it is. This isn't a, oh, well, you know, how often does he have the burn? This is, no, emergency situation. Do anything you can to gain life this turn.
The problem is, though, that leaves up the 4/4, right? Because you have to kill the 2/3.
Well, you can just trade and Siphon Soul the 4/4, right? And armor.
Oh, sorry, Siphon. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I'm with you. I misheard.
Okay. Oh, it's going to go ticketus. And that is simply game. Yes, Frenetic's like, get it. Perfect. That is... Jarla going for the big play there and hoping the burn's not there, but...
Yeah, Armor Vendor comes down. Frenetic, brief moment, hang on. Did I celebrate?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah. And the big
fine.
deal is he cannot now kill the 4/4, right? Which makes up the
Exactly,
difference of the armor anyway. So yeah, that is going to be the game. Frenetic's just going to choose his way to do it. And that means Frenetic, with the much needed big win this week, he's banking all 5 possible points here and taking a win over Jarla in the finals, which is another nice thing to add to his achievements here. And I think that is a very, very happy man over there, Sottle.
Yeah, and just to put this in perspective of what Frenetic has achieved, again, this is a relative unknown to the global Hearthstone scene. Obviously, he has a huge following within his own local scene, but a relative unknown on the global stage of Hearthstone. Came into Grandmasters for his first season and has won now a weekly championship, and on the way, in a row, defeated a World Championship semi-finalist in Tice, a World Championship finalist in Viper, and then a World Championship finalist in Jarla, back to back to back, to be able to get over the line. So fantastic performance in the end to get it done. 1 or 2 moments, of course, that I'd raise questions with, as always. 1 or 2 moments where his deck, in particular, Demon Hunter, was very kind to him to allow him to get out of some particular situations. But I think all in all, I said before, I think I said this yesterday, if there was a slightly patronizing sounding award for most improved, then it might have to go over to Frenetic, because he does seem to